And welcome to another episode of All Rell Good on the Crawford Podcasting Network, along with my good buddy, number 40 out of Riviera Beach, Florida, Richard Rellford. The man had bounce for the Wolverines, could dunk and did a lot of things, two-time Big Ten champion. And like we've done in the past, we brought some of Rich's teammates back. A guy that was a couple years older than him, Tim McCormick out of Clarkston High School, the Wolves of Clarkston High School. I remember seeing him play at Jennison Fieldhouse his senior year. I saw you play your last game in high school, Tim, I think.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Appreciate that.
Great welcome, Tom. Make me feel at home. Really happy to be with you. We were 26-0. We were number one in the state. We had just beat Pontiac Central, Pontiac Northern, Flint Northern, Saginaw, all in close games, one of the toughest paths ever. And we thought that we could relax against Highland Park, and we lost by 1 point. So, thank you. I pushed that way back in my memory.
Well, my alma mater was at Lansing Eastern with Sam Vincent. So I was there cheering on my former Quakers, and then they beat, then they won the state title the next day at Crisler when it was that back-to-back.
So how can you not reference the fact that Sam Vincent was on that team, but they were powered by Michigan legend Robert Henderson.
There you go. Wow. there you go. Excellent. Man, you don't mess with Tim McCormick when it has to do with detail.
No,
here's another issue I have with Rich. I don't think you ever knew this, but when I was in high school, I was number 40. And I was number 40, and I stepped onto the campus at Michigan. And one of the first things I did is I looked at the program, and there was a guy named Mike McGee, who was number 40. And I was 40. So mad, and so they gave me 45. And I'm sorry, 44, and I was gonna do 44 for a year and then switch, and then Coach Frieder said, "Well, actually, we've got a kid from Riviera Beach, Florida, that's coming in, and he's 40." So I knew where I stood immediately.
Oh my God! Now that's leadership, Rich.
Yes, that's
senior,
leadership.
He yelled to the rookie. The McDonald's All-American, though, mind you.
And you know what? If he had asked me for it, I would have gave it to him.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, though, Tim, you wore 40 in the NBA. I remember a few jerseys you wore in your non-year tenure in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. I spent 10 years in the NBA, and every single year I was number 40. I never was 44 or anything else. And I was traded 7 different times. So I got pretty good at checking for my number. So number 40.
Well, I can't think of two more former Wolverines that are more in glee of pride after watching the Michigan Wolverines pound the Purdue Boilermakers, number 3 in the nation last night. I was at Crisler, and guys, I got to tell you, it was a little disconcerting walking into Crisler. There was a lot of Purdue fans there. I mean, it was like, oh God, this is not good. But hey, they didn't have a lot to cheer about. And let's reflect back on that game. Then we'll get a little nostalgic at the tail end of it. We have to do that, back to the 80s and the Freeds days and things like that. But Tim, let's start with you. Let's start in the pivot. Hunter Dickinson,
Tim, I think Tom was down.
Cooking. Yes. Hunter has it cooking, Tim. And break down the game last night. Your thoughts. I know you're involved with the NBA and the Pistons and things, but where's this Michigan team at with you, in particular, Hunter Dickinson?
Well, Hunter Dickinson was an All-American last year, and he's better this year. His last streak of 6-7 games has been phenomenal, and he's showing great leadership in bringing a young guy named Moussa Diabate along, and that's a very important role. I remember that I had a similar role as a veteran player trying to bring Roy Tarpley along. And we both benefited from playing with each other. And last night was the first time that I saw them really work in conjunction. They were dominant. I think they scored 31 points total. But more importantly, they tag teamed Zach Edey and Trevion Williams and completely outplayed them. I thought that they were both physical and active, and actually, I on my Michigan Basketball Insider podcast with Sam Webb, I actually went ahead and told Sam the day before the game when we taped, I said, look, I'm going to tell you right now, even though Purdue is number 3 in the country and they just beat Illinois, I flat out said Michigan will win this game. It's their building, it's their time, and so I can't say that last night I was surprised by the outcome, because I wasn't.
Yeah. Now, Richard Rellford is Mr. Positive, and I even try to throw some kind of critique at this Michigan team, but Rich, no, got to stay with him, man. No, I mean, I'm telling you what, Caleb Houston, he's going to bring it. He's going to come back. You got to hang with him. He's young, Tom. He's young. I keep hearing that over and over and over. Well, Rich, you give me I told you so to me, because I'm telling you what, he brought it last night. He only had 4 shots in the Penn State game. He got separation, 4 or 5 beyond the arc. He was awesome. We can go through a lot of these guys. There are 4 guys over 14 points plus, but let's talk about Caleb Houston, Rich.
Well, last night, Tom, watching the game, he hit big threes last night. And right when I kept saying and yelling at the TV, come on, young fella, and he knocked him down. Now, I'm a big Hunter Dickinson fan. I've been loving Hunter since he came out of high school. And I told my son last night, Hunter handled the big boy last night. He handled him very well. And that was the reason I thought that we had an advantage, because not only did he handle him, we rebounded. We had to rebound, and we had to control Ivy. And that's what we did.
Oh, yeah. Jaden Ivey. He's Audasumu 2.0. I think. Tim, I want to go back to the backcourt now and talk about Eli Brooks. But Eli Brooks had some ligament damage in his non-shooting hand, and he was kind of holding it going back down the court. But this kid, struggled early on in some games, coming back. He's such a leader. Juwan Howard, after the game, I was asking Juwan about Eli, said, listen, he's got a coaching position on this staff when he's done, forever. He thinks that highly of Eli Brooks. Talk about what you saw in him in the backcourt last night, Tim.
I don't think that Eli has had the type of super senior season that I expected. He hasn't scored like I thought. And as I've watched closely, I've been impressed with the other parts of his game. He's so smart, great ball mover. He makes the right plays. But I talked to Isaiah Livers last night before the Pistons game, and I asked him about Eli, and he said, look, the truth is that Eli is one of the greatest role players and teammates that you could ever have. And he'll do whatever he needs to, but he doesn't have this big, massive ego like I need to get my double figure points, or I need to do this or that. Like, he doesn't care about numbers. He plays the right way, and he'll take the shots that are appropriate. And as the 4th and 5th option on last year's team, he didn't force the action. He just took the shots that were wide open because he was playing with Livers and Wagner and Brown and Smith and Dickinson. And sometimes he was the 6th option, and he was okay with that. And so I believe that the next step in his game is he has to become a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, a little bit aggressive, and say, even if I take a somewhat bad shot, it's still better than most of my teammates taking a wide open shot.
Yeah,
and yesterday I thought he was aggressive. He made a huge 3 right down the stretch that really gave Michigan confidence. I thought that was the biggest shot of the game, and the crowd erupted. And I know you said there were a lot of Purdue fans at the beginning of the game. I saw a lot of empty seats at the end. They didn't stay around very long.
No, they left. And I'm telling you what, guys, and you went through this, Tim, obviously, before Rich, you had a couple struggling years, early part, and then you got the NIT crown. Crisler, Michigan fans, and I'm one of them, when I was in school in the 70s, they were in the Final Four, and there was like 5,000 fans there, and they eventually went to the Final Four, Wayman Britt and that crew. And it was frustrating as a student, passionate about basketball, but it's a show-me crowd. And that Crisler Arena fan base of Wolverines, when they're shown something, they bring it, because those are the hardcore fans that are there. There's been the Nebraska game had a really poor showing, but the ones that were there brought it. Rich, what were you thinking about those Crisler crowds when you were there? Did you feel like you had to bring it to bring them out and not a natural environment like Mackey Arena or down at Assembly Hall in Bloomington?
Yes, we did, because, being a student there at the time, I think, our students are pretty laid back until you start winning. And when we started winning, it happened when Tim's senior year.
Yeah.
We got ready to go to the NIT.
Yep.
And our gym was sold out every night at the NIT. And so it helped us. And so what we did is we continued to win. And so we didn't really have any lackluster crowds because we were winning. And so, my junior year, we had a 16-game winning streak.
Yeah.
So the gym was crazy. So you know what? We got the movie seats in Crisler, man. It relaxes you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tim, what, the daunting schedule, Michigan's back on the bubble, whatever. I mean, it depends. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the metrics of how many games they have to win in the Big Ten. They have to go 11-9, go down to Indy with that and maybe get one down there at the Big Ten tournament, or get 12. I mean, what's the recipe in your mind that Michigan has to get to feel confident they're going to get an NI or NC2A bid before they go down to the Big Ten tournament?
So I just have to believe that if Michigan is 500 in the Big Ten and they win one in the Big Ten tournament, they'll get in. Last night was of massive importance because if Michigan is 500 in the Big Ten, that means they're going to add a couple of other quad one wins. And like it's easy to say that, oh, they're on the bubble, they're not going to make it. You have to find good teams from somewhere. And ultimately, Michigan is going to have those quad one wins. And even teams from the ACC, they're not as good this year. There is not the same depth. So I'm very confident that if Michigan just takes care of business and gets to 500 at the end of the season, I think that will be good enough. But I will say this. I'm not accepting that philosophy now because, look, I always used to tell my son when, he did something really well, I said, in a way, you just screwed up because you showed what you're capable of, and now the expectations are higher. And so for Michigan, like you can't go out there and play a game like that and then come out flat the next game. That's just unacceptable. They showed what they're capable of. Now do it again.
Yeah. So Rich, Juwan was talking about after the game when they got back from State College, like at 4 a.m. He asked his team how many hours of sleep they got, the following day, which was Wednesday, and it was like 3 hours, 4 hours, and then they played Thursday night, and now they're going to play against Ohio State. This is very NBA-esque, like every other day. I mean, how would your legs hold up in that scenario? It beats going to practice, or where would you be on playing 3 games in 5 days?
We loved it because we didn't have to practice. Our practice was harder than the game. You know what I mean? Because Frieder, listen, Tom, I was telling my son too that he was crying about running suicides.
Yeah.
We had won 8 in a row, and Frieder had us run 21 suicides one practice.
Wow.
Just because we thought we were all of that. And Coach Frieder was like, yeah, well, I'm going to show you if you're all of that. And I'm with Tim. I think what they did was they kind of messed up last night. Because now we know your potential. We got your potential. Now we know you guys can go in there and do your thing. I think the game last night would put them over the hump if they were on the bubble for the NCAA. Yeah. Because you'd be the top 10, a top 5 team, and you need those games.
Well, they got the schedule to get more quad ones, and EJ Liddell, Tim. I mean, I watched him. He's a terrific player. Maybe not so much against Rutgers, but what kind of problems is he's going to cause Michigan, and how do you think that game's going to go at 6 o'clock on Saturday night at Crisler?
And before I answer that, I just want to say if they would have asked Rich where he was the next day after, he would have been honest and he said, I was in the library the rest of the day.
Or 8:30 class. Yes,
that's right. Exactly right, Joe. That's right.
And so, so tell me something. Were you, Rich, were you a party boy at Michigan?
No, we didn't party, but I'm going to tell you, we enjoyed our time because once that NCAA thing came at Pizza Bob's, they slowed all that down because, we were going in there and then all of a sudden we started seeing these guys everywhere. And so, no, we wasn't really party guys. We had good fun at department store.
Yeah, chocolate shake at Pizza Bob's. Okay, Tim, let's go back to E.J. Liddell and the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they're coming off the loss to Rutgers. Is that bad for Michigan that they're going to be all mad and stuff, or how does that actually parlay? Winning, or is it better to play a team coming off a loss or a win?
So I think that Ohio State will be mad, but if I could choose who to play after that electric environment and that huge win against Purdue, I would pick Michigan State. I would pick Indiana. I would pick Ohio State. Those were the three schools that always had my attention. You know who I don't want to play? I don't want to play Iowa. I don't want to play Minnesota. I don't want to play teams that are talented enough to beat you if you're not ready to go, because when they go out there, it's gonna be a sold out crowd. It's 6 o'clock at night. I mean, that's gonna be an amazing environment, and you can't help but get ready against the Buckeyes. So that's a great match. I don't care what Ohio State did the game before. Michigan will be ready for that one.
Yeah. Well, Rich, how about your Ohio State counterpart down there in Toledo? Are you going to be doing a little bannering with Dennis Hobson a little bit?
Well, first of all, Todd Mitchell, who went to Purdue, he ain't returned my call yet.
Okay, start with him.
Right. And Hobson, we started already because Dennis returned my call last night about Ohio State, us getting ready to play them, and Todd Mitchell not returning my call. So listen, I'm jabbing at these guys all the time, man.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, I got it
Rich, real quick. I played with Dennis, so give him a jab from me too, okay?
I got you, my man. I got you.
All right, that's teamwork there between Tim McCormick and Richard Rellford. I want to go. We got a little go back a little nostalgic on the '80s, and then maybe a couple Freed stories here before we close out. You're on All Rell Good on the Crawford Podcasting Network. So Tim McCormick, were you recruited by Johnny Orr originally, or I'm trying to think of the time frame there, or was Freed's already the coach?
No, I actually was recruited by Johnny Orr. I started going to Michigan's basketball camp, the Johnny Orr basketball camp, starting in 4th grade. And I remember going to Crisler Arena, first day of camp, and Johnny Orr would come out and he'd say, guys, I'm glad you're here. We're going to work hard together. We're going to have a great time together. We're going to laugh together. This is going to be a great thing. And then he would leave and we wouldn't see him to the last day. It was Peter that ran the camp and got to know everybody. So I knew Johnny and Bill Frieder from the time I was in 4th grade on. And so when I was a sophomore and a junior, I got to know Johnny Orr. He was the guy I was going to play for. And my senior year, the day before I was going to sign, have my press conference and the whole bit, there was an article saying that Johnny Orr might be going to Iowa State. And I called him and said, Coach, I'm really excited about Michigan, but I'm concerned about this. And he said, Tim, I can promise you I'm a Michigan man. I am not going to be your coach. And later that day, he left.
Oh my God! This sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Lately,
it so does.
Wow,
it so does.
That's wait. What with Freeds? I mean, why? I mean, what was it about Freeds that you liked, Tim? I mean, playing for him.
So first of all, he was a relentless worker, and I remember he had something in my mailbox every day, my entire junior and senior year from Michigan. Paul Hireman and Thad Garner, those guys must have hated writing me letters because every day I had in there. He went to the Michigan house in West Quad, and he personally asked every single guy in that dormitory to write me a letter about why Michigan was great. And then he delivered the box with all these letters.
Oh my God.
That's great, though.
Shirts in the mailbox. The postman must have hated it. He had Tom Kemp, our assistant coach. Tom was at all of my sister's high school basketball games in case I showed up.
Wow.
So
That's hitting all the. Hey, I got to ask you though, when that. So you're the elder statesman. All of a sudden, at the original Fab Five, we'll call it Richard Rellford, Butch Wade, Rob Henderson, Roy Tarpley. Who am I missing here? Paul Jokic. Okay. So how did you haze these guys? You make it rough on them, or how did you treat these rookies as the elder statesman for the Wolverines, Tim?
Well, first of all, like the first practice, Rich dunked on me so hard. I said, I'm gonna be friends with him. So I remember when I was a freshman, I was really mentored hard by Johnny Johnson, Mike McGee, Paul Hireman, and Mark and Marty Bodner. And Thad Garner was a really good leader too. And so I knew how they made me feel. They were hard on me. They held me accountable, but I always knew they had my back and they were very supportive. There were times that Paul asked me about my academics. He actually came and spent a week at my house before my freshman year. And, we worked out, we had fun together. We got to know each other. The Bodners were really good leaders and mentors. I thought that Johnny Johnson was the coolest guy I'd ever met. It was really, JJ. Yeah. And Mike McGee, I'd never been around somebody that worked and ran as hard as him. So I learned the importance of mentorship, and I took great pride in trying to be there to help our Fab Five. And I think that they became great leaders too. So I take pride in that.
Okay, Rich. So I'm gonna have you set you up now. You tell us your feelings towards Tim McCormick coming into that, and how did he make you feel? I think I pretty much know the answer, that he was a good dude.
I had never played with a 7-footer until I played with Tim. Okay. And I got to tell you though, this is what I tell people all the time about Tim, Thad Garner, Leo, Ike Person, all these guys.
JJ could hit the shot.
And JJ was gone when I got there.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
Those guys made our freshman year amazing because nobody had egos. And watching Tim play, I'm gonna tell you what we used to say, me and Bushner. Tim don't know this. We used to call Tim Mr. Fundamentals. You know why?
Yeah.
Because Tim jumped about that high.
Yeah, I remember that.
And not one person in practice could block his shot.
Wow.
And so what we learned, because me and Roy, we used to talk about it in the dorms. We used to always say, yo, dude, we used to tease Roy, when you gonna block a shot? And he used to be like, yo, dude, I'm looking at him, and every time I go one place, he at the other place, and he's slow as hell. Wow. I said, check it out. I said, that's what you got to learn. And so Roy paid attention to Tim because he couldn't stop him. And we all thought, like, wait a minute, this dude got bad knees. Yeah. You can't stop him.
Yeah.
And Tim, and so the mentorship, Tim is right. We learned a lot from Tim and those guys because that's what we did to Glenn Rice and Mark Hughes and Lloyd Balt. We did all those guys the same way.
Yeah, it's passing the baton. I forgot, Tim, you had that knee surgery. Didn't you miss your sophomore year, one of those early or freshman year with a knee surgery?
So I got through my freshman year and really struggled with my knees. And then I had 2 knee surgeries, one in June, one in August, directly after my freshman year. And I did not run or jump or play basketball for 16 straight months. So,
oh, my word.
So wow. Rich is right. Yeah. A lot of people thought that I would never reach my potential. During that window of time, the Detroit Free Press wrote an article, and they said that the Tim McCormick era at Michigan has been an utter failure, and he will never reach his potential. And that really, it hurt a lot. It was very painful. So when Rich says that I could jump 2 inches, I went from 205 pounds as a freshman to 255 pounds.
Ooh.
And so it was really hard. And actually, the turning point in my career happened before my junior year. Bo Schembechler called me and asked me to come to his office, and he chewed me out and said I was soft and lazy and out of shape. And he had me come and work out with the football team every day. We ran sprints, we ran distance. I was in the weight room with them. And during that 3-month period that summer, I went down to 230 pounds, and I got in the best shape of my life. And then a year and a half later, I'm a first-round draft pick starting in the NBA. So it came around really quick.
Well, it's inevitable. A Bo story comes into Michigan bat. We talk about Butch. He wanted Butch Way to come out and be his DN, okay? And then he wanted Rich to come out and be, an All-American tight end. And he called you out a lot of times, called you soft, right? You're not tough enough, Rich, to play football, right?
That's why I understand this story with Tim so perfectly, because that's exactly what he would say to me. He said, "Oh, you don't want to come out because you soft." And I told him, "Coach, but I'm the #1 tight end in the country my freshman year, coming out of high school." He said, "But you're still soft." I was like, "Yeah, Coach." But see, that's why I understand Tim's story. He's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I tell you what, we got to do this again, Rich. We got Tim McCormick back on. He's good.
Listen, I love having my guys, man, because Tim made my life a whole lot easier as a freshman, man. We didn't have to sweat a lot of stuff because anything went down. Those guys took the heat. So we loved it, man.
Yeah, that's good. Tim, it's always great to have. You deserve a Medal of Honor enduring that Piston season in the pre and post game. I watch you all the time. You try to you sugarcoat it as best you can, so you get some kudos for that, my friend.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, but hopefully it'll be better down the road. I say that optimistically, but I'm not so sure.
All right.
Well, anyway, Tim, thank you, Tim, for coming on. And I wanted to say before you get off, I'm coming to some Pistons games, so get ready for a call.
All right, go ahead and buy those tickets, Rich.
All right, we'll do this. We'll do this again. Let's do this again. Maybe right on the brink of an NCAA tournament run for the Michigan Wolverines. How's that sound?
Sounds good, baby. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya.
My dude, thank you. Go Blue.